Hello, friends. It's a wonderful day. Nice having you here. My name is Praise Fowe, and this is your show, Ask Praise. It's a show where we talk about family life. We answer your deep seated questions. For 15 years of my life, I've worked with troubled marriages and troubled relationships. And everywhere I go, people want to ask a lot of questions. And for these 15 years, they've asked me, Praise, when are you going to have time for us to answer some of the questions we've never been able to ask anyone? And that's all we're going to be doing on this show. So feel free to send in your answers, and you can be so sure that I'll do justice to them. So today on this show, we have a couple of questions that we're going to be starting with. Now, we got a question from Kingsley from Port Harcourt. And this one says, Dear Praise, I dated my wife for 4 years. And what attracted me to her was the fact that she appeared very organized and her room way back was quite clean. But now, I have realized that she only fooled me because she's dirt personified. She can't seem to keep things in place and blame it on the pressure to raise our 2 kids. And I keep wondering how our mothers coped with 7 children. My marriage is 6 years and I'm already tired of the house looking upside down each time I return from work. I can't even bring my friends home because I'm not sure of what to expect because I am tired and I need your counsel. That was from Kingsley from Port Harcourt. Now, Kingsley, thank you so much for trusting me to answer this question. Now, you've raised a whole lot of issues, and the first thing that struck me about your question was the fact that you said your wife was very organized, and that was what attracted you to her. Okay, but now you think that she just fooled you into marriage. Now, the first time you met her, did she know that you were going to propose? Did she know that you were going to marry her? Because you met someone who was arranged, who was together. I need to say to you that good women don't just go bad. As a matter of fact, a woman is a reflection of a man. So the woman you met that was organized must have been a reflection of the first man in her life, maybe a father or a mother. Now, the woman that is disorganized right now, you know where I'm going, most likely is a reflection of who you have made her to be. A man at the point of marriage is called the groomer of a bride, which means you're a bridegroom. Your wife is this bride, you are the bridegroom. Now, what you see right now is a function of your grooming ability. So before you point accusing fingers at your wife, you might want to look at yourself and say, what have I turned this woman into? Now, so let me drill down a little bit. I'm a bit worried with the words you have used for your wife. You say she's dirt personified. Most of the time when I sit in counseling session and my coaching session with troubled marriages, and I hear the use of words like this, I see what sounds to me like an exaggeration. So most times people can separate facts from opinion. Fact is what has happened. Opinion is your exaggeration or your interpretation or your extension of what has really happened. Now, when you say someone is dirt personified, has your house become a refuse dump? Right? If your house is not looking like a refuse dump right now, then most likely this is a bit too heavy. And I begin to wonder the kind of word you must have used for this woman who you met together. She was clean, she was tidy, and everything. Now, she has 2 children already. And you are complaining because your marriage is 6 years old. So I suspect that your children might be between the age range of about 5 and 3. Okay, depending on how how you started having children. Now, if you have your children who are less than, the two of them are less than 6, most likely what you have in your house unknown to you is what we call chief reorganizing officers. What it means is no matter how much you arrange the house, your children are going to rearrange this house. Now, you have not told us whether your wife is full-time or she's a full-time housewife or she combines that with a job. Now, so I want to assume that she's a full-time housewife. Even if she's a full-time housewife, you have never been a woman before. So you may never really appreciate what it means to take care of the home, to do the children's assignment, to clean the children up, to be ready to satisfy you in bed as your spouse, and to take care, to do the cooking, to do the dishes, and to clear the house, depending on the kind of home you have. Now, one thing I must say to you is that there is no basis for comparing your wife with your mother. You said your mother raised 7. Now, in the days of our mothers, they had a lot of helps, okay? Uncles, cousins, people live with us, right? And in those days, the world was not what it is right now, right? Our mothers never really had anywhere to go, so they were fresh, and you know, our fathers never really had the kind of stress that they have right now. Okay, so there is no basis for comparison, because I can imagine, for example, if your wife actually has a job that she keeps. Now, how does she cope? The olden days women, the 18th century women, never went to work. Your wife goes to work at the same time at the same time you go to work. Now, at work, your wife functions, unknown to many men, she functions like a man. So, which means she switches to a masculine mode at work. Now, depending on the level that your wife is, if she's a marketer, they're not going to give her a lower target because she's a woman. In fact, her target will be double. If she's a management staff, which means she has people under her, she's going to work as a leader and ensure that the department works. Now, so at work, your wife is giving instruction, right? Your wife is doing a whole lot. Now, by the time she's getting back home, most likely she comes back at the same time as you. She's already tired, and she's going to struggle to switch back to a feminine mode, and that's where skill comes into place. A skillful man will understand that and will give her a soft landing by creating a rapport. Now, there's a whole lot you can do to help this woman and salvage this situation. When I come back, I'm going to be dealing with that. I'll be right back. It's still your show, Ask Praise Forward. I'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still your show, Ask Praise Forward. Now, before I went on that break, we were looking at what could have been responsible for the question Mr. Kingsley asked from Port Harcourt, right? And I've tried to situate a whole lot of things. Now, I'm going to be trying to prefer solutions so that you can help your wife and you can help yourself. Now, one of the fundamental beliefs that everyone needs to understand these days, and it's a belief that says nothing means anything except the meaning you have attached to it. Nothing means anything except the meaning you have attached to it. Right. That your empowering state or disempowering state is dependent on the power of your meaning. So, for example, Kingsley, if I did this to you, right, what does it mean? I'm sure in Nigeria, this will mean waka. And people have killed because of this before. But if I do this to a 2-year-old, the 2-year-old will assume, because he doesn't know waka, he will assume that I was trying to wave bye-bye and my hand got stuck and it will help me finish it. If I do this to a teenager, he will think maybe I'm trying to give him a high five and run towards me and complete it for me. It's the same way. Now, you have looked at what your wife is doing and you have created the kind of disempowering meaning because you've called her death personified. You say you can't bring your friends home. You are almost getting tired of your wife. Now, in whose interest is this? And how does this affect your home? Right. So what you need to do right now is to ask a simple question. The way your house is turning upside down right now, what actually is responsible? Could it be that your wife is overly stressed? What is your contribution to domestic management system in your home? Right? Do you do the dishes, at least to support? Do you help the children with their homework? Right? What exactly is your contribution in this home? Now, don't tell me that you put money down, because money is not the only thing that you need to contribute. You also need to contribute to your domestic management system. You need to be there to exercise your domestic responsibility as a citizen of that family, which may include mopping the floor, which may include, cleaning the house, which may include doing one thing or the other. One thing you need to learn is the fact that marriage is between two people. It's actually a team game. So if you're playing football and the ball is about to be scored because your goalkeeper has been dribbled and you are the striker at the goal line, do you leave the ball to get into your net? Will you allow the goal to be scored, or you will kick the ball out? Right. And that's what we need to do. We need to learn to stay together, work together as a family. So if I were you, what would I do? I'll take my wife around the house. I will hold her hand and I'll tell her how much I love you, because there's what to say, there's how we say it. Most times We say things not the way the other person has learned to receive it, and that's why they don't receive it well. Every time you experience resistance from your spouse, it simply means that there's no rapport. So why don't you take your wife around the house, appreciate her for all she's done, appreciate her intelligence. Unknown to a whole lot of men, women go through a whole lot of emotional and deep-seated issues that if we only step into their model of the world or step into their shoes to try to understand what they go through, we might be able to adequately help them out without necessarily making them feel that something has gone wrong with them. So for example, I say to people that we see things the way we are, not the way things really are. So, and we see things that we want to see most times. Because with everything Mr. Kingsley has listed about his wife, have you tried to talk about the things that is good about this woman? The things that she does so well and she's been doing so right in your home. Because oftentimes women are going through a whole lot. Imagine if your wife works in the place, she has to go through the stress of work, she has to help the children with all kinds of things. So she's battling and trying to process a whole lot of things at the same time. So what should you do, and what would be my advice for you? I think the first thing you need to do is to go back to your wife and really appreciate her for who she's been. Trust me, to remain married to a man for 6 years is not a joke. She's really done well. And to have been able to take care of your 2 children is not also easy, considering the age range of your children and also depending on the personality type of your children. So for example, known to a whole lot of parents, if you have an intimidating child, for example, an intimidating child will take a no for an answer. All right? He will not take a no for an answer. He is going to run your life ragged because he's going to ask you a lot of questions. But if you have a creative child, the creative child, his socks is to the right, to the north, his shoe is to the south. He's the one looking for homework. He's the one who comes home and you say, do you have any homework? He said, I don't have. But on Monday morning he now remembers because simply he wants to play. Right? So you have about 4 different categories of children. Until you understand these dynamics, you'll keep blaming someone else. So why don't you sit with your wife and ask her, first appreciate her, because if you don't make deposits into an emotional bank account, you've got no right to make withdrawal. So why don't you praise her, thank her so much for being a fantastic wife, for being there for you, for taking care of the children, right? And begin now to stylishly and skillfully begin to ask her the areas of stress around the home. Most likely she's going to ask you, why are you asking this question? So hold her hand and ask her about the areas that she feels you can provide support with. Now, with that, you have come to her as a solution provider, not as someone who has come to attack her. Because what we do most times, we see what is wrong and we attack the problem. We attack even the person without preferring solutions. Okay? So why don't you ask her if there are areas of the home that she feels you can help with? Since you are the chief organizing officer, you know how to organize. You love to organize things. Why don't you take that responsibility off her? Right. And what you need to do is to ask her questions like, sweetheart, when people come into our home, what impression would you want them to live with? Right? She's going to tell you, when they come in contact with our home, I want them to see us as organized. I want them to see us as fantastic and everything. Because a woman's home actually is a reflection of her personality, so they say, okay, in the basic differences between most men and women. So let her understand that everything you want to do is to help her. Right. Once she understands that, you provide a level ground where you can assist and where you can help. Now, whatever she says to you, now begin to break it down to now say, how do you think we can make this home look tidy and look organized? If you do this, she will know that you really want to help. You don't want to attack her. Now, I must say this to you, that nothing means anything except the meaning we've attached to it. Right now, you look at the situation of your home and you have attached a disempowering meaning to it. Why don't you attach an empowering meaning, something that doesn't put your wife in a bad light before you? So instead of saying your wife is death personified, why don't you see that disorganization as stress or our workload is damn too much? Can you relieve her of that workload? Or maybe you even need to hire someone like a housekeeper who can help out. Now, I think, finally, you need to install what I call domestic management system. And that has to be a collective responsibility of everyone in the home, wherein you know the thinking that goes into the placement of everything in your home. Where sitting room is sitting room, dining is dining, kitchen is kitchen, right? But you need to model it, or you may need to model it for your wife. So for example, when she's in the kitchen, you can go help her as she's cooking. You can do the dishes, right? You can say, sweetheart, what can I help you with today? You can wash her on this. You can help with the children's assignment, right? I know a whole lot of men are saying, oh, but I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. You can't be too busy for your family, because your children are not your wife's children. They are your children, okay? So don't say, how can I be helping my wife to raise the kids? No, you are helping yourself and helping the family. I think your marriage can work. In fact, your marriage will work. So don't look down your wife and don't talk her down, because that will kill her self-esteem. And the moment her self-esteem is down, she will make bigger mistakes. So please, provide assistance. If you need to hire a housekeeper, please do so that you can take a lot of pressure off her. But above all, provide the kind of vision of the home you want. Don't enforce it. Ask her for the kind of home she wants, then tell her the kind of home you want, and solicit for support to make this work. And please, it might not mean that she will adjust to this immediately. You need to give her some time to internalize. And as your children grow, you'll be able to teach them about orderliness in the home and how they need to start by laying their bed, cleaning the dining, or washing their plates immediately after they must have finished eating. If you do this, I'm sure your home will work. I do not see your wife as a dirty woman. I just see a woman that is overwhelmed by the household chores that she's been subjected to. If you lend a helping hand, I'm sure things will work. We expect your testimony. Thank you so much for sending your question, and I hope I've done justice to this. We'll go on a short break, and when we're back, we'll take one more question for today, and I'll answer that. It's still your show, Ask Praise for Wowe. Welcome back. It's still your show, Ask Praise for Wowe. Now we have this question from Kike Lomo from Lagos Island. Kike Lomo says, "Dear Praise, thanks so much for your balanced approach to human issues. I am 28, dating a guy that is 35, and we plan to settle down, but I'm developing a cold feet because of his stance that I must not have anything to do with any male friend. It's as bad as getting angry when I talk to anyone that is male, and he wants to eat me for attending a dinner with my boss. He claims it is his way of protecting me, and I really don't know what to do. My mother said it will change with time as age is no longer on my side, but I'm no longer sure if I would be happy in this relationship." Kike Lomo from Lagos Island. Now, Kike, thanks so much for your question once again. I'm a bit worried that it seems that you have a lot of pressure around you. So your mother feels that you need to get married because you're 28, okay? And she's saying age is no longer on your side. Who determines, because we have a lot of generalized ideologies about life that I sometimes struggle to understand, especially in Africa. Who determines what age is right or what age is wrong for someone to get married? I say to a lot of single ladies that most of the people who want to get who want you to be married, most of them, in most cases, don't really mean well for you. Oftentimes, your mother wants you married because she wants a grandchild, not because she necessarily bothers about your happiness in that relationship. So, what if you get married and you give your mother a grandchild, but this man beats you consistently and he kills you? I'm sure your mother will be so fulfilled. Now, marriage or marital decision is not something you make collectively. It's got to be an individual decision, and that's why adults are the ones that should get married, not children. One mark of children is a child is the fact that they have to take decisions for you. Now, you're an adult, you're 28. This guy is 35. A 35-year-old who is battling with insecurity and beats a woman up or slaps you or hits you because he's insecure. That kind of person is still a child. Trust me. Insecurity is a manifestation of low self-esteem. It means there is something in him that he has not dealt with. But this one has even gone beyond insecurity. He's becoming violent, right? It means this guy, if I'm able to counsel him, I'll be able to trace it back. Somewhere, somehow in his life, he's been deprived of something, right? He suffered severe deprivation, such that anything he owns, he tries to choke, right? Which means he can't even share anything with anybody. Now, any attempt for that thing to be shared with him, he resists it and he can get violent in getting it. Remember that you are still dating. You have not even gotten married to this guy. He's already beat you. And trust me, guys don't hit people by mistake. Your mother says it's going to get better with time. What empirical data is she working with? I mean, what proof? Did the guy promise her that it's going to change? Or your mother simply just wanted to wear someone's ring? Trust me, I have met lots of women who should not have married because the handwriting is on the wall. Domestic violence is a major issue in Nigeria and Africa right now. A lot of women have been beaten to death by husbands that they married. And some of them were avoidable situations. Trust me, even the Holy Book says a good man sees evil and hides himself. It says the foolish goes ahead and is destroyed. And I know you're not a foolish lady. You've got your life to live. In a relationship, a guy is not doing you a favor by asking you out, okay? I suspect that you work in a place, you are bringing value to the table. And that's why I say to ladies, if you don't have a job or you can't feed yourself, please don't get in marriage, because you'll be negotiating from a position of weakness and the guy may mess you up. So in this case, if a guy who at the level of relationship is already hitting you, that's like your mate slapping you, right? Forget his age, because he's not doing you a favor. By getting married to you, in fact, you are most likely doing him a favor because you have to lose your name to pick up his name, right? So in this case, well, I'm not going to totally say the guy is a bad man. I just think that he has a weakness in his life that has not been dealt with. And trust me, insecure people are they are very dangerous, because you can get married right now and he's going to tell you to stop that job. Because if you're going for a dinner with your boss, it's already a problem to him. Who else is going to be a problem to him? Maybe it's going to stop your parents from visiting when you get married, because there are red flags already for me. So what I would advise you to do is, would you be willing to sit with this guy and talk this over, to say the kind of life you want to live? Because you can't stop your friends simply because you are dating a guy, right? And would you be willing to ask this guy to get help, because he actually needs help? Anger is a secondary emotion, and anger is an offshoot of a deep-seated issue that, if it's unresolved, will be carried over in a marriage. People carry a lot of things over in a marriage. Anger doesn't get resolved with marriage. As a matter of fact, marriage may trigger it more, because before marriage, maybe he doesn't have people who live with him who get him angry consistently. Now you're going to live in the same house with him, and you know the environment you belong to. It's easier to get married. Divorce or separation is very difficult because we're a religious environment in Nigeria. So this guy's going to beat you. People are going to tell you endure hardship as a good soldier, okay? They're going to tell you pray for him. They're going to tell you do all kinds of things. Would you rather avoid this situation, or you will go ahead and manage it? And trust me, when you get married, you cannot begin to complain about what you permit, because the handwritings were clear. The question I would like to ask is this: if there is no hope of this guy changing his stance or changing his way, would you be willing to stay with him for the rest of your life? Take, for instance, if this guy's default mode will include beating you consistently for the rest of your life, would you be willing to remain with him? Now, I'll go on a short break, and when I come back, I will ask you 4 powerful questions that will help your decision. And I hope when you deeply answer those questions, you will know exactly what you need to do. It's still your show, Ask Praise Forward. I'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still your show, Ask Praise. And we've been trying to answer Kike Lomo's question. She asked this question about a guy who is insecure. Now, Kike, I'm going to ask you about 4 basic questions. And please, you need to listen to this question, very, very carefully, because it will help you take a decision. Okay, we call it Cartesian logic. If you can answer this question with absolute sincerity, you will know exactly what you need to do. Now, the first question I'll ask you is this: what would happen if you marry this guy? Let's assume that nothing changes. What would likely happen if you marry him? Can you try to answer that question? Number two, what would not happen if you marry this guy? Right? What will not happen? So, for example, if you marry him, what would happen? Then what would not happen if you marry him? Right? Now, number three, what would happen if you don't marry this guy? What will happen? Because when you answer this question, you're able to face your fears. And the last question, what would not happen if you don't marry him? Okay? So I'll take that again. What will happen if you marry him? What wouldn't happen if you marry him? What would happen if you don't marry him? And what wouldn't happen if you don't marry him? A whole lot of the times, people say that a bird in hand is worth much more than 10,000 birds in the bush. Or even people say that a known devil is better than a known angel. But the question I ask is this: can a known devil be ever good? Right? And can an unknown angel be ever bad? That's questions you need to ask, because many times we box our lives down by the next guy that is available. I don't know the history you have with this guy, because I've seen ladies consistently say to me, oh, Praise, I love this guy and he's such a good guy. He's generous, but he has this problem. He can't seem to see me with another person. He gets very angry. At this stage, you don't belong to him. As a matter of fact, you belong to your father. Okay, so if your father is the one that is angry, your father is the one that is jealous over you, I wouldn't be worried. But this guy never paid your bills, he never paid your school fees, and now he shows up from nowhere and he wants to control your life. Let me say this: your life shouldn't even stop because you married someone, right? Because these same friends have been the ones who have helped you to become who you have become, right? They've been there for you all this while. So I can't imagine, a friend that you've been with for 20 years of your life. And this guy shows up and he's only been in your life for 2 years and he already wants to separate you. Let me tell you, the moment someone isolates you from the people that are dear to you, that person can kill you. I'm not saying this guy is a killer. I'm only telling you possibilities. Because when I deal with domestic violence, women come to me and they say, my husband is beating me. And I ask, has this man ever had a history of battery before you married him? And they say, well, he never beat me, but he used to beat his younger sister. A man who beats a woman for whatsoever reason, or who settles scores by fist or by physical fight, will beat you up, because that's showing you a tendency. Wife beaters don't pretend, really. So by the time he was beating his his younger sister, you were excited, thinking that when he gets married to you, and he was telling you, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to do this to you. But by the time he was getting married to you, the younger sister was excited because she knows that beating has changed hands. And now it's continuing with you. The handwriting is on the wall. So I always say to singles, the 21st century love must not be blind. Actually, the 21st century love must hire binoculars so that you can see from afar. At 28, you are not too old. Okay? So don't let anyone put pressure on you. It doesn't matter, what your mother feels or she wants you to get married. Truth be told, if you marry a wrong man and he begins to beat you, all the best your mother can do for you is to pity you. Your mother is not going to live in that house for you. Okay? She's not going to receive the beating for you. And if the man kills you, your mother is not going to die for you. Okay? So you're going to do two things by yourself. According to Martin Luther King Jr., say you're believing and you're dead. Would you want to die right now just because you want to fall in love or you want to get married? I'm sure there are some good guys out there that may, love you, treasure you, and have mastery over their anger. And that's not to totally say that this guy is bad. It only means that there's a particular problem in his life that he needs to deal with. But if he's already beating you and is jealous, I'm asking the question, in what other areas of life is it manifesting this tendency? Does it manifest it at work? If it does that, then we might need to trace back into his childhood and find out what exactly is wrong and help him. But you see, you are not the one to give that help. It's a professional matter. He needs to come in for counseling session so that we can help him break free from those self-sabotaging patterns. That's what we call them. And trust me, you are a wonderful girl, you are an intelligent girl, and you deserve the best. No woman deserves to be beaten, battered, or killed by a man. And to every man there who is beating a woman because you think she's a thing that must be used, please, you need to stop that. You need to get help, because adults should be able to resolve issues by communication. Adults should not fight. I mean, animals fight to resolve issues, right? But adults should be able to communicate, right, effectively, so that we can build sustainable relationships where we remain as lovers and not as killers. And that's what our world needs right now. Thank you so much, Kike, for sending in this question. I hope I've done justice to it. Now, remember, I've not told you breakaway. I've not told you. I've only presented perspectives. The decision lies in your hand. Do what promotes your best interest. Okay, we won't be able to take any other question today. But I'm seeing someone is asking a question on Twitter right now, and is asking, how do I know what love is really? Well, I have a simple definition for love, and very simple, and that's from Biola, saying, how do I know what love is? Love is very simple to me, and I say that love is a decision that is based on a commitment to add value to someone else for the rest of your life without expecting a thank you. That is very hard, right? Love is a decision that is based on a commitment to add value to someone else for the rest of your life without expecting a thank you. So true love is actually not symbiotic, even though you deserve to be loved back. The other is actually the leader in that relationship. So don't seek to control, seek to influence. When you seek to understand, then you will learn to be understood by the other person. And trust me, you can make your relationship work. You can be the best that you can ever be. Nothing means anything except the meaning you've attached to things. What empowering meaning are you attaching to the situation in your life? Till I come your way again next time, my name is Praise Fowowe, and this is your show, Ask Praise. We look forward to receiving your questions. You can tweet at me at Praise Fowowe, or you can send a mail, askpraise@praisefowowe.com, and we will take your question. Thank you so much. Many thanks to the production crew, my producer. Fantastic job you're doing. I really love you. I appreciate you. Till I see you again, I honor you. Bye-bye.